Hello, welcome back to the Level 1 News. Today's May 31st, and we're doing government, social, and security because all the sections are huge today.
And do you notice anything different?
Oh, this is the part where we
New hairstyle.
cycle through some weird stuff in the background.
Oh,
We got a new recording space for the news, and in celebration, I thought we'd bring back an old favorite.
Oh, they're going to hear that crinkly.
That's fine. But this time, not orange sodas. There's another love in Wendell's life
we have all the same microphones.
when it comes to food.
Banana pudding?
Bucky's banana pudding. Chris, I don't know if you love banana pudding,
I'll eat one.
but I brought you one too.
I won't eat one right now because these mics are really good at picking up the little So I won't do it right now, but I am tempted.
The
This is the
number
small
one
size.
ingredient is bananas. That's a good sign.
Enriched wheat flour, riboflavin, palm oil, corn syrup.
Modified food starch.
I love modified food starch better than regular, unmodified food starch.
Contains wheat, soy, egg, milk. If you have allergies, don't eat this. I'm really tempted to eat it right now.
It's probably been a year or two since I've had banana pudding.
Really?
Yeah,
You used to get it all the
so
time.
rare? I thought you loved it.
I do, but it's just it's hard to have the good stuff. You got to make it yourself.
This ain't the good stuff.
You don't know that.
I'm not. Yeah, I've had it. I mean, I haven't had this batch, but I'm not going to break my fast with that. But I've had it before, so I can judge it.
Yeah, they've made the mistake.
You don't think it's good?
I mean, it's
I
fine.
don't think it's banana pudding, is it?
It tastes banana-y to me.
Whipped cream, I think, is a mistake on banana pudding.
Yeah, I
it
don't
just
like that. I'm
dilutes
kind
it.
of eating around it.
The meringue. You got to do the meringue.
And that's for sure just out of the tub, Cool Whip.
It's at least the banana pudding is not overwhelming banana. It's not.
It's more vanilla-y.
I think it's
Yeah.
vanilla pudding. Are you sure it's banana? Any Bucky's insiders? I imagine they make this in the store every day.
It's weird. There's no vanilla listed on the.
I mean, that's what banana pudding is. It's vanilla pudding with bananas in it.
But
Oh,
some
yeah.
people use banana pudding.
Ingredients: vanilla pudding,
Oh. Yeah, it didn't taste like the toxic
the
banana
cellophane
variety.
banana. Yeah.
So it's hard to, like, we know the Orange Crush is the gold standard for orange soda, although you like some of that hipster stuff better.
Mm-hmm.
But the gold standard for banana pudding is just homemade, right? So it's
Yeah.
hard to, what's the best commercial banana pudding?
Probably this.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
High
I didn't think it was
praise.
that good.
I'm amazed that Bucky's was still standing. I thought maybe a tornado got it last night.
Oh my, the sacrifice I made to go to Bucky's, a tourist trap on the first day of Memorial Weekend. It was madness. And all of you who are driving RVs right now and don't know how to drive RVs, I hate you. I hate you so much.
I saw a few on my way in, but not many.
They just stop. They just stop because they don't know what to do.
They probably don't know where they're going.
And they're also a billion years old.
Yeah.
So, the second best readily available banana pudding is probably like Sonny's banana pudding.
I don't know if I would call that commercial though, right? I mean, presumably they are making that in the back, right?
Maybe.
Well, they make it at Kroger too, and it's not very good at Kroger.
All right, so you know what we got to have? We got to have a number rating out of 10 and the ideal venue to eat it.
Well, if a 10 out of 10 is homemade, this is probably like 6 out of 10.
It's not bad.
It really isn't bad.
Also, it was like $3.
That's a lot.
Yeah. But Bucky's prices are just like airport prices.
How much is a box of vanilla wafers? $20 at this
At
point?
this point, yeah, maybe.
Hundreds. Because it needs wheat, right?
I'm sure they source them wholesale. While I was standing in line, there was an old lady, and she was very upset. And she was like, really getting testy with the guy. And she was like, "Excuse me, do you have anything cold to drink in this place?" And he was like, "I'm sorry, ma'am. The fountains are broken right now, but we have a lot of other." And then she interrupted him. She was like, "Well, do you have anything?" And she and I, like, he had his back to it, but she and I were looking straight at the entire back
The
wall.
wall.
It's
The beer
coolers.
cave? Yeah.
Coolers, nothing but coolers. And I don't even think they sell alcohol. And he was just like, "Yes, ma'am."
Right in front of you.
And she was like, "Well, I never."
And stopped off.
Yeah.
Should have given her banana pudding.
Why?
Yeah, this is really good. I like it.
Well, it's an expensive habit and an annoying one to go get.
Yeah, $3 a piece. I would spend the time to make
A
it.
little over 3. They do have a bigger size.
Is it the bigger size, like $3.50? Are they doing that trick?
I think the bigger one is about the same deal, honestly. Maybe a little bit better.
Oh,
Ooh.
I know what's off.
Orange soda after?
That's fine.
Wash it down. That was probably an ASMR segment. Sorry to those of you who don't like ASMR.
Actually, those are my least favorite viewers, so I love doing this.
We all have our own microphones that are the same, and we'll probably be tuning those parameters a little bit over time.
We've got blankets. You guys can't see them, but there's blankets everywhere in here right now because we haven't gotten foam yet. Hopefully
And
it's
also
not bad.
because we're disposing of corpses. So, roll them up.
This is the dead bird room.
Well, it's been 5 minutes. Maybe we should go ahead.
Yeah.
Get on to the news. We've judged the banana pudding. I'm surprised you liked it as much as you did.
It's as a commercial banana pudding goes, it's a very, very good commercial banana pudding. It's got the pants beat off of whatever you can get at Kroger, Walmart. I've tried all those. They're not very good.
Bucky's strong jerky too.
Will you make a trip to Bucky's just to get banana pudding?
If I've got a craving really bad, probably.
Hey, 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
If you go at 3 a.m., it's not going to be a problem. Although you'll be getting the old banana pudding on it.
Yeah, the best time to eat banana pudding is when if you do the egg whip instead of the whipped cream, and it's still warm, and the outer layer of the vanilla wafers is the only thing that has absorbed the banana pudding. So when you get a wafer, it's still a little crunchy on the inside. Timing is important with banana pudding.
You should go to Bucky's and explain that to them and have them make you a special one. But just the small
Actually,
one.
Yeah.
Well, let's switch over to some government corruption, of course. Why not? Now, we all know that the antitrust is a big thing for actually both political parties. They actually agree on it for slightly different reasons, but at least they can agree on something, right? We have to get control of the big tech companies because they pretty much, their lobbying power is too overwhelming.
they threaten our power.
Yeah. And it sounds good until your entire party is about to get crushed in an election. I mean, just ground down into paste. And at that point, you say, maybe we need those lobby dollars for the campaign.
In private, vulnerable Senate Democrats back off the tech bill. Democratic leaders wants to crack down on big tech, but others think the party is too big of a risk.
So you got Klobuchar and Grassley. This is their bill. And they had a lot of people sign on to it until inflation crushed us pretty hard. And it's not looking good for them in their re-election campaign. So they're saying, I don't know, guys.
They're like, we don't know if we should spend time on this right now. And it's like, well, can you just get something done? Like, getting something done would be a positive, right?
They also described the tsunami of lobbying that has hit them all in the wake of all this. So big tech they're not taking this lying down.
Do you think Lena Khan is privy to all that? And she's like, just let me go. She just comes into the room and throws a chair at him.
I think it's too big for her to try to take on without Congress.
Yeah.
I think she needs them. So
It does seem like we are very ineffective at actually tackling the problems that we need to tackle.
which is how the system has been orchestrated.
Yeah.
Purposely. There's a rhyme and reason to it. I don't like the song. And here's a big shocker, right? Did anybody think that they were?
A new Senate report finds the government is unprepared to stop ransomware attacks. The same thing we've been telling you on the Level 1 news since we've been doing it.
There's a new
So
piece of
2016?
information. The new piece of information that they're giving us, they being the government, is that we're not prepared to do this. And in order to get prepared, you have to give us access to all of your data. If we can't look at it, we can't stop it.
That seems like a great way to introduce a vector that ransomware can get to all of your data. Who knew? Who knew?
Yeah, not only do they want to be notified immediately at penalty of fines, which that's already a thing, right?
Yeah, they did that earlier this
But they want any kind of data that might have been stolen, they want it. And they want to be able to come in and look at things in the meantime, just to be sure.
Well, I mean, they're already doing it for retinal scans for the ophthalmologists. Why not also your G drive?
I would prefer not. And Twitter, remember when Twitter said, hey, we really care about your security, so we're going to two-factor, and you have to do it. And people said, hey, Twitter, I don't really trust you with my phone number. And they said, what, are you stupid? We don't use it for anything but two-factor.
Twitter will pay a $150 million fine over accusations of improperly sold user data. I remembered this happening to Facebook, so I had to look it up. It turns out Facebook did the same thing, and they got off a lot easier than $150 million.
Better lobbyists, right?
Yeah.
I was just going to say inflation, but it costs more now when you get fined.
Fineflation. So it was the phone numbers. They for sure used the phone numbers in marketing that you use for two-factor, and that was a no-no. And if you are somewhere else in the world, I can understand why you would be so furious that the American government seems to be able to do whatever they want. Jurisdiction,
Doesn't matter.
we don't care about that.
Foreign torrent site operator can be sued in the U.S. Where were they operating? Pakistan. So if you throw up a torrent site in Pakistan, the long arm of Hollywood is coming for you.
Pakistan's not part of the U.S., right? just clearing that up.
Now, the lawyer or the judge said, well, I understand what torrents are amazingly. Like even Torrent Freak had to point out, like, wow, a judge who understands it. And he was like, I understand that these files were not hosted on this website. This is peer-to-peer. So you can't really make that argument, but I will let the case go forward. And their arguments were like, no, it was.
What if the judge is torrenting stuff? He's like, oh, I don't want this to
Is
go.
this going to be another case where the judge has investment in Disney? Because that happened a couple of times.
He's torrented every season of Judge Judy.
I like how she tells it how it is.
And we've talked a lot about ESG. Mr. Musk has really dragged that into the light of day, hasn't it? That was kind of a fun little hidden thing for a while. But it turns out that some funds and financial institutions will, wait for it, they'll take advantage of that and cheat.
The SEC weighs a crackdown on phony environmental and social justice funds. So this is going to be fun. Some companies say, hey, we're going to have a fund where we are going green, but not really.
And they put ESG in the name of the fund. That's the big sticker.
My favorite one, somebody posted a link in the comments a couple of weeks ago, and it was in the UK with furniture making and wood. And instead of, it's cheaper with the green initiatives and the green credits or whatever they have in the UK, according to the stuff that I read, I don't know, to import wood from somewhere else than it is to grow sustainable wood in the UK and not transport it, because the green tax doesn't figure the carbon cost of transportation.
So that's going to be good for the environment, right?
Yeah, just burn more fossil fuels to get wood to a place that already grows it.
We're experiencing some of that in the U.S. with the whole ethanol in corn. It's like, oh, there's going to be a massive food shortage. Should we maybe not
convert that corn to
not put the ethanol in the gas?
No, we worked hard for those subsidies. We're going to keep them.
But we could just eat it instead of driving it.
But here's the thing. They know, Big Corn knows that they never get those back if they let them go.
Yeah.
So there's a reason they don't do that.
So we're going to starve. All right. Sounds good.
But we'll have so much corn syrup.
Don't drink the ethanol.
You know how people used to eat those like sea biscuits? Sea biscuits were actually a little unleavened bread we'll be eating that, but they'll be so sweet and delicious.
That corn syrup. That's different.
And sanctions are a big thing. More and more countries are getting sanctions from the U.S. against them. And in the age of instant transactions and cryptocurrency, that's an easy line to cross.
U.S. issues first criminal charges in cryptocurrency sanctions case. We reported a couple of months ago about a guy that went to North Korea. He had a really popular seminar series in North Korea titled How to Get Around U.S. Sanctions with Cryptocurrency. Of course, North Korea really liked that. Turns out you're supposed to get permission from the State Department if you're going to do that.
Or even to go to North Korea.
Or even to go. So this is not a good thing. I mean, even if you're a victim of ransomware and you pay an organization that is, say, operating out of Iran, the State Department will come knocking.
And you don't know where they are. It's like taxes. You don't know you've done anything wrong until you've already done it.
Why did you send this money to Iran? I did what now?
And we've learned a little bit of a trickle of details about the UFO stuff. They mostly told us nothing, but having this information out there caused them to have to try and face some weird discrepancies in the main storyline. So they've adjusted it.
Navy ships have been swarmed by drones, not UFOs, a defense official has confirmed. So
there's footage in this article if you're interested in looking at it.
And some of the incidents, and this was just off the coast of California. So who was operating it? Where were they operating from?
And they claim that a lot of the erratic behavior and the irrational physics breaking performance of the drones was because of the night vision affecting the film.
Okay, they look very triangular and not like a typical drone.
And social media we've discovered is addictive, although so is Bucky's banana pudding. Corn syrup. Lots of things are addictive, but they claim that this is addictive on purpose.
Oh, there's corn syrup.
Although I guess Bucky's banana pudding could be on purpose as well, right? I don't know.
California parents could soon sue for social media addiction. Can you sue for an addiction to cigarettes?
Well, some people have.
Successfully, though?
Probably less successfully than this.
Surgeon General's warning, using Twitter may cause cancer.
Oh, another pop-up. It's going to be another pop-up that we have to have.
Have you not seen that one on Twitter where it'll pop up and be like, your mental health is important, take breaks? I've seen that one pop up on Twitter before.
Does that mean that you're Twittering that hard?
I don't know. Sometimes it'll just pop up when I look at like Chris Bailey's. It's like you're looking too often.
Maybe they've identified him as a risk for people spending too much time on Twitter because his stuff is so
inflammatory.
It's so engaging.
There's a temperature gap, a mess up at one of the temperature reading stations, and he's very angry about it.
Oh.
He's been tweeting about it a lot.
I bet those poor guys trying to fix whatever that is at the temperature station are really tired of guys like Chris Bailey.
Yeah, well, he's like, we're getting bad historical data because there's this like 2-degree gap in this area, and it's like, are we really okay? But he's mad about it.
Well, that's not the only social media law that is going to cause some waves. This one from Texas is also, this is a Reuters article and it got paywalled. I read the Gizmodo one. The Gizmodo one just attacks this governor the entire time, like just mercilessly. And yeah, he's probably an idiot. I mean, this is a dumb thing, but think about if they did that to AOC.
Yeah.
Think about the backlash.
Google's quote-unquote private browsing mode is not really private, a Texas lawsuit says. It says that even when you're in private browsing mode, Google is still tracking your IP address and can correlate the data after the fact, so it's not really private.
And that they are for sure still tracking that location data. They could choose not to. They choose to.
They're never going to not choose to get more data.
I think that's accurate.
By private, you mean it's private from yourself. You can't explore it in your own history. We still know.
Yeah, other people in your home might not know that you went to that website, but Google will always know.
Is this monkeypox? Google will know you have it, but your friends won't.
And Google will tell the CDC immediately. And Mark Zuckerberg, some skeletons in his closet, some big skeletons, skeleton brutes are waiting, and they're coming out.
DC Attorney General sues Mark Zuckerberg over Cambridge Analytica data breach. Now, it's been so long. I actually looked at this. And I expected the lawsuit to be like well put together and well reasoned and a lot. No, I looked at this and I think the DC Attorney General is doing this for purely political reasons. There's not really anything substantive here. The whole lawsuit basically says you're enticing people to give you private information, which you then turn around and sell. Yeah.
It's kind of been the business model all along.
Yeah. I mean,
was there a problem with that? You guys didn't indicate that at any other point.
Yeah, I was really hoping for like a smoking gun or something, but there's not.
Well, Texas, DC, and of course, Florida, state after state, going to war with these social media companies.
Appeals court, Florida law on social media is unconstitutional. We're focusing on this instead of things that are actually important.
Woo. That has to do with the, you're not allowed to take stuff down. The court said that is Twitter's First Amendment versus your First Amendment.
Private company, yeah.
It's theirs. They can do what they want with it.
And that's what we've said before.
But I mean, there's a lot of problems with that because they are editorializing and stuff like that. But we got to fall back to the basics. You got to go back to the Constitution, even when it's annoying for you. You change the laws to like change what Twitter is, not what free speech is.
If we head down those roads, then it's a very insane, slippery slope. The solution really is to turn Twitter into an open protocol messaging thing.
But then I think it'll die. I don't think anybody wants that.
Yeah, well, because everyone will disseminate to different mini platforms of that, and then you won't see.
Or they'll go to whichever one gives them the addiction algorithm.
Well,
they like it.
I mean, that's how messaging was on the internet in the beginning. It would be more of a return to how it was in the beginning. Because you would post a message on your server, which would be replicated to in many servers all over the internet.
Yeah, that's like people who talk about gun control and compare it to before we had individual cartridges. So we're talking about like musket loaders. It's like, well, it's not really the same argument, is it? You can't really put that genie back in the bottle as easily. And Spain is one in a long line of countries who are rather belatedly realizing, hey, we don't manufacture anything. And when China stops, we're in trouble.
Spain to invest 13 billion to build a microchip industry. Nothing in this article makes me think that the prime minister or anybody else in Spain understands that this is going to be a 5-year plus operation. They have to have the staying power for this.
I think 5 years is optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be 10 or 15.
And I thought about putting this in the robot section, but I decided for government because it was the Dutch police. And I don't know, I feel like this may be a little bit of just a PR stunt.
It is.
Is this really going to help anybody?
It's kind of also feels a little cruel, but
Maybe, yeah.
The Dutch police create a deepfake video of a murdered boy 13 in hopes of new leads. The paradox is probably going to be that, yeah, they'll probably get some new leads from this, but not because they did this, but because this is the first of its kind.
Also, when they do stuff like that, the number of false leads that they get is overwhelming.
Yeah.
People feel a real need to call up even when they've got nothing. It's like those people who, write the Amazon reviews and say, I don't know.
oh
People
yeah.
really just want to participate.
Oh, I could talk about that for like someone will have a question like, "What's the length of this sleeping pad?" And someone just like, "I'm not sure. Look at the thing." And it's like, "What? Why did you answer? Why?"
Because that same compulsion, I don't know what it is. It's like people in the Twitch chat who want to tell us that they're leaving. Okay.
All right,
No
yeah.
one
See ya.
cares. Yeah.
Come back.
The rest of the room's going to continue having fun. Go ahead. This is a lie. This is not, I don't call this 3D printing, do you?
No.
I don't know why. That's just a ridiculous headline. Popular mechanics, you're better than this.
China is 3D printing a massive 590-foot tall dam and constructing it without humans.
But what they're doing is more impressive.
So this is the picture is actually the Three Gorges Dam, not the actual construction project. So yeah, maximum laziness from Popular Mechanics.
Because it doesn't exist yet. I don't have any pictures of the stuff. But there's going to be robots, like swarms of robots, construction robots, Constructicons. And they are going to be just,
Printing in 3D and concrete.
but not printing. They're just actually building a thing. What's the printing part?
I thought that they
Pooping
were.
out the concrete, maybe.
Yeah, I thought that there was going to be a robotic concrete extruder there somewhere.
But that's just a concrete truck. That's how they work.
It comes out into liquid and becomes solid. What is this madness?
It's a printer.
This article also neglected to mention that the Three Gorges Dam has altered the leap seconds in our computers. Like normally we add leap seconds, but the Three Gorges Dam is holding up so much mass, it's changed the rotation of Earth.
Think that might have some climate impacts?
Has anyone looked at Lake Powell or Lake Mead lately?
Normally we have a leap second by now, but we haven't.
I think most people are just like refusing to look at it and
Yeah.
ignore. It's like, that's not happening.
It's
That's not
happening. It's happening.
And the saga of Arm China.
Which is a different company.
It's been a roller coaster, and it's not going to stop now. We thought that it was over after they had seized their whatever the letter of mark or whatever that they have to have and got their building back, but no.
Mysterious firm seeks to buy majority stake in Arm China. Chinese joint ventures ousted CEO tries to hang on, but who will get control?
It's the Lot Cap Group. Nobody knows who the Lot Cap Group is.
Yeah, I looked it up and I was like, who?
Secretly Elon Musk.
Probably.
Oh, good grief, yeah.
And speaking of Elon Musk, it seems that the heat at Twitter has gotten too hot, or maybe he knows what's in those algorithms that might just about be exposed to the world, and it's time to distance.
Jack Dorsey steps down from Twitter's board. Now he can say mean things to Elon Musk. Go get him, Elon. That's what he's thinking.
Didn't he kind of step down a little bit before? He might be being forced out as well.
He was CEO, so he stopped
Yeah.
being CEO, but he stayed on the board.
He stopped
Right.
being CEO very abruptly.
Yeah, I think he was. I mean, maybe he left because he wants to fight Elon, but he might just be like, no, I'm done with this.
Or maybe because the company has now been revealed for being mostly fake and is currently on fire.
All those followers, they're not real.
Title.
All right. Twitter shareholders sue Elon Musk for sowing confusion to drive down the price of a deal.
I mean,
They're not wrong.
he's definitely done that, but do you think they would have to prove, would the bot thing be discovery from this?
No, well, see,
Didn't he waive his rights to that kind of thing?
no, he's got the ultimate defense here because it's like, okay, I've got the money. Here's the money. Let's do the due diligence for the deal. Show me the stuff. And if he can show that the bot percentage is higher than what they've said, then, you know, that is the ultimate defense on going through with that deal, because it's like, this is, you know, how things are not how you've told things to your shareholders. So this could create a ton of chaos in the short term for that.
But Twitter wants to protect that knowledge
Yes.
at any cost, but they don't control this. This is the shareholders.
Right.
So can we get discovery from this lawsuit? Because this is pro-Musk, if that's the case.
Yeah, in fact, there are already a couple of Twitter shareholders that have different lawsuits with different goals. One of them is trying to get to the bottom of that. The other one is saying that Musk is intentionally like messing with the value of the company. And also because Tesla's lost so much money, a lot of investors in Tesla are impatient with this and want the whole Twitter thing to go away. So it's pretty fun and interesting thing.
But also, every tech company is getting slaughtered right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you prove that it was him and not just the market?
There's potential for like 6 different classes of lawsuit here. And if his goal was to create a crazy amount of chaos with plausible deniability in every single one, he's done it. What's he up to? Is there a bigger game here?
And if his goal was to spend $1 billion to destroy Twitter and create something to compete with it, he has certainly done that.
Yeah.
Will that eventually come up as a thing, though, if he starts promoting it like a year later? Will they?
No.
No, if he pays his $1 billion, he's out.
Yeah.
That's his termination fee. I mean, like, it's such an absurd amount because we're sitting here. It's like, well, it's just $1 billion.
It's $1,000 million.
You would never see me again if I had $1 billion. I would just disappear into the woods, never to come out again.
We'd see you because the paparazzi would hunt your ass down.
Well,
I
that's
hate that.
true.
You'd have to go learn from Johnny Depp how to avoid all that. He's apparently the master of that. Well, here's a man who might lose $1 billion. And it might be from lawsuits. But if it's from lawsuits, it will also be that in addition to this.
Zuckerberg's Metaverse to lose significant money in the near term. Now, that's... Okay, so the Bloomberg headline is just parroting what they've said themselves.
No, yeah, they're quoting him on a conference call.
Yeah. But the article also expands on that with a lot of things they didn't discuss in the conference call for other ways that Meta is going to lose significant money in the near term beyond just investing it into the metaverse.
And he's saying it could be 15 years. Do you really think Facebook or Meta stockholders want to invest for 15 years?
No.
You think some of them might be looking at retirement before then?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would want that stock in my portfolio. But Facebook is still suffering from some of their previous problems that they had, and they're trying in very small incremental ways to give us solutions for that, I guess.
Facebook opens political ad data vaults to researchers. Social network builds Fort. It's literally called Fort to protect against an onslaught of regulation and investigation. Fort stands for Facebook Open Research and Transparency.
Forts have always traditionally been to keep people out.
Yeah.
It's a curious acronym to use for that.
Go ahead.
The election's coming up, right? You
Yeah.
have to get in front of this.
Yeah.
The more scary thing that's happening here, though, is that for the first time, we have corporations that are, you know, plausibly creating an internal structure to provide clean data to researchers for plausible deniability. So think about the Facebook ads that would let you target race or let you discriminate against, you know, it's like there's houses for sale here, but we don't want to show it to this kind of people. Facebook is beginning to build a corporate infrastructure so that they can still do that, but provide data to researchers to say, well, the algorithm didn't explicitly do that, and here's the data proof. And it's like, well, but it had this behavior ultimately. And it's like, that's a wacky coincidence of the algorithm.
Every time it works that way, though.
They only have to leave out a very small part
Right.
to create a gap that would make you think it was something else.
Yeah, exactly. And this is it's a very interesting branch of, like, what do we call this? Because it's like, you know, malicious compliance data.
I think we call this human garbage. And speaking of unpopular men, I think he might be number one right now. Although this is certainly not new news.
No.
No.
And at this point, I don't think anybody's trying to hide it.
No. Facebook has been slammed for spreading Vladimir Putin's propaganda in NATO's east. So people that are using Facebook in the east side of NATO, it's like they're seeing some weird stuff. And it's like, is this true? Can this be true? No, it's not in fact true.
But oh boy, is it getting clicks.
Which the algorithm says, oh, we should show more of that.
here's another story where this is the exact same story we saw before.
Yes.
No details are changed.
Nope.
And they're just rolling it out again. But this is a different event, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So like this, I guess they said they fixed it, but I guess not.
The BBC reports that a female avatar has been sexually assaulted in the Meta VR platform, campaigners say. This is basically the same thing that we reported on, gosh, what was it, 6 months ago?
Was it even 6? It might have been like 2 or 3. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, so, you know, there's not a lot of moderator protection. And once again, it's once you bring it to the attention to moderators. If you create your own thing, then unless something's happening in there to bring moderators in there, that's your own thing. So this is...
Well, they have like that bubble thing too, where you can be like bubble on and no one can talk or interact with you at all.
You think she didn't do that, or it didn't?
It didn't
that at
say.
all?
There's no details.
Yeah, but it kind of seems like it defeats the purpose of the metaverse. Like if you're going to go and just sit in your own bubble, like why would I not just do that IRL?
And I think probably what is leading to a lot of this. I mean, I'm not excusing it. You're a terrible person if you're
Right.
harassing people in the metaverse. But I think what happens is people get hyped about the metaverse, and then they go to the metaverse, and it's terrible.
It's just like the real universe.
You got to make your own fun, and their mind immediately goes to, all right, let's sexually harass. What could be more fun than that?
Woo!
Why do you have headphones around your neck?
I noticed
right.
that earlier, but I wasn't going to say anything. We should mention this. We did a watch along for was it season 2, episode 1 of Picard?
Star Trek Picard.
If you are on Patreon or Floatplane, you should be able to see that. If you are not on Patreon or Floatplane, we put it at a lower tier on Patreon, so you can check it out. So
And if you think like I gotta see more of this, if we get a lot more people joining Patreon and Floatplane because of it, we'll definitely do the rest of the series.
yeah, we were considering it anyway because it did have some pretty good positive reception. But
You're going to have to get closer to your mic. You sound far
Oh
away.
really?
oh no,
Oh.
are you listening so you can tell?
Yeah, Krista sounds amazing.
I'm trying to be right on top of it, but I lean out when I feel like
You
I'm
can press
breathing too
that.
loud.
Yeah, it's got this.
Doodly-doo.
Sorry.
That is no mic company's really gotten that really good.
No, yeah.
And these are plastic too, so that's trouble.
Yeah. These are German manufactured, so...
Well, we learned about Apple's new Metaverse headset and didn't get a lot of details about it. It seems people have been so rabid for it. They're trying to go to the source.
Apple's headset said to feature 14 cameras enabling lifelike avatars. Jony Ive has remained involved with the design. We really need you to know that Jony Ive is involved with this design so that you don't immediately assume that it's the dumpster fire that it looks like from the screenshot.
Do you remember rainbow gradients? Because that's what's coming back to the metaverse.
The article also mentions there's some kind of internal struggle going on with, like, do you wear the battery pack on your belt, or do we make the battery a part of the headset?
I feel like I'd prefer it on my belt because that would make
could
it
be
so heavy.
annoying. Yeah, the weight is important, but having it on your belt is going to be super annoying. Because if you're moving around doing fun metaverse stuff, if you're fencing,
Yeah.
Apple's really worried about, you know, conveying your facial expressions too. I mean, I get it, because sometimes I send an email and it's like, I really didn't mean that in a condescending way, but
oh right,
You got to hit him with the smiley face when you
because
do that.
a ton of the cameras, like half of the cameras, are looking at you.
yeah,
That's so invasive.
Dystopian.
we're going to build a lot of data from that, and then it's going to be like Clearview AI lie detector, the app.
Oh, for sure. Chris, I liked what you said. I think it was last week. You said you had issues being perceived.
Yeah. I don't like being perceived. I do it for you guys, but I don't like it.
That headset is going to perceive you
So hard.
like as hard as you've ever been.
Constantly
perceived.
being perceived.
Yeah. Well, Brexit. Now, when Brexit happened, this is confusing to me because when Brexit happened, I was assured that pro-Brexit was Russian propaganda,
It was the will of the people.
right?
Yeah.
Was that not the story?
That should have been.
Russia wanted to disrupt the EU, so they did Brexit and they used their misinformation campaign. But now it's been leaked, and this is the leak you would think was anti-Brexit. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah.
But again, it's Russia.
Reuters reports that Russian hackers are linked to new Brexit leak website, Google says. So the Russian hackers are leaking to sow dissent?
I guess you dissent one way and you wait a little bit and then you dissent the other way. Is that?
I mean, they did play both games during the election. Both sides off of each other.
Then how were they responsible for getting Donald Trump elected?
Like 4 or 5
Because
years
that is
ago.
the official
Well, there's
story.
also like the sanctions thing where they sanctioned a bunch of people, but then they didn't sanction Donald Trump.
which was again
Is
just
that just like, yeah, is that a mind game, or like, why are they doing that?
But how is going in both directions? Are we talking about, maybe it's like, in our case, it would be the FBI doing one and the CIA doing the other, and they just don't like each other.
that's definitely
One
not
hand doesn't
happened
know.
before.
Maybe the old KGB guys and then the new FSB guys, and they're just like, no, we should support Trump.
Nah.
They're just a little bit more sophisticated than the pliers under the fingernails kind of thing. It's like, oh,
Well, this is Australia, so you know where it's going, right? I mean, we really don't have to even say whether it's going to be good or bad. We just have to say it's Australia.
tough to forge, quote unquote, digital driver's license in Australia is, in fact, easy to forge. A litany of security flaws allows forgeries that are quick, easy, and cheap. Also, don't give your phone to law enforcement. That's not a good idea.
Oh yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, keep it in your hand. Do never hand it over to them.
They
especially
try to
not
take
law.
it, and you're just like, no.
Yeah.
Just
No, that is.
claw
I don't know
it.
about in Australia.
That's
but
resisting.
That's your
Chris
right
said.
here. Well,
Stop resisting.
so they built all this stuff into it. It's got an animation. It's got a QR code. It's got like various little watermark type deals. What they got wrong, it's a 4-digit PIN. So a brute force takes about 45 seconds.
Oops.
And then once you have somebody else's, you can modify it to make it look like you.
You're updating your photo.
Then you can just use their identity.
Did you gain 300 pounds? Yes.
You got to find somebody that looks a little bit like you. Chris, I thought about you when I saw the story because you are always the one.
I use DuckDuckGo, but honestly, I just feel there's been a lot of headlines like this in the last like 6 months, and I'm like, I should just switch back at this point.
I mean, you probably are getting a tiny bit more privacy, but at this
not
point,
much.
it's really a question of, do you want Microsoft to have it or Google to have it?
Yeah.
That's the question.
DuckDuckGo isn't as private as you thought because they use stuff from Bing.
Which we said before, and were mercilessly attacked in the comments.
But
We've seen a few stories about this now.
it's not just that they use it, it's that they had to sign agreements when they made that contract. It's like, no, you won't turn off the tracking.
The full story here, though, which I think the Review Geek people missed, is that DuckDuckGo tries to aggregate your searches with other people's searches. So even though it can't comment on the tracker, and even though there's a tracker there, your searches theoretically are being mixed with other people's searches. And so there is a degree of anonymity there. I just wish that were disclosed better.
Or at all. Because somebody was just looking at what was going out of their searches, and they're like, wait a minute. I know the Microsoft telemetry IPs. That's what those are.
Rip.
And of course, the security section could not be complete without a terrible hack compromise that somebody could have easily avoided.
Hackers compromised some Zola user accounts to buy gift cards. Zola's a wedding registry website.
Krista, did you do an online wedding thing?
I think we did like a little short website, but we were registered. Where were we registered? Amazon, maybe like one or two other places. But we didn't use like any system like that.
Zola claims that this was credential stuffing from other leaks, and these people were reusing their passwords, and it's nothing that Zola did. Don't know about that.
I mean, that could be true, but I don't trust any of these companies as far as I can throw them. So
Is this a situation where the government mandate could actually be good?
Is it another situation where Zola was maybe not blocking IP addresses that were trying thousands of passwords?
Yeah, maybe didn't have a response or detection going for that. I could see that pretty easily.
Oops.
This is a dense story. All you really need to understand is that everything you use every day is built on a house of cards. Actually, it's not a house of cards. It's a pretty decent foundation, but anybody can come in and replace one of the support beams with a card easily. And that's a big problem.
CrateDepression. Rust supply chain attack infects cloud CI pipelines with Go malware. Basically, there was a package in Rust that if you include in your package and then it detects that it's running in a continuous integration thing in the cloud, it would then deploy malware to be able to steal compute cycles of your continuous integration server in the cloud.
So they probably got a hold of an old package that was in a lot of this stuff that was popular with people that you're using the cloud integration, and they poisoned one. And now we have this.
And how would you even know? Like most of the developers that are working on this, they don't even pay attention to anything like that. They're just like, it doesn't go. I don't know why it doesn't go.
they poisoned the water hole.
Oh, it's going to go.
Nah.
That was the joke.
And trucks. Now we've heard about catalytic converter theft. That's a big one.
This one's amazing.
We've heard about drilling gas tanks. That's a problem. But this one is crazy because you realize like the trucking company was so complacent when they designed this whole system.
Yeah.
Right. Like they put no security on this.
Rash of parts thefts is leaving Freightliner trucks inoperable. So far, this is not like the catalytic converter thefts mostly.
It's that right there. That's what they're stealing.
That's pretty small. That's pretty easy to just shove in your pocket and leave.
And I think it's accessible from outside the truck, right? Am I
wow.
understanding that correctly?
No, you can open the hood without any special tools and then pull it from there, I think.
And that without that, the truck does nothing.
Yeah, that's like the control. It's reprogrammable, so you can use it in a whole bunch of different trucks.
And they're not stealing them to sell them necessarily. They're stealing them because you can't get them.
Yeah. The ones that were stolen from dealership lots. So there were trucks sitting or maybe waiting for delivery, and also like an impound yacht or lot or repair lot or something like that. There was like 20 or 30 that were stolen in one go. The article's like, oh, this is hurting people's livelihoods, but pretty sure those were stolen because people's livelihoods were already on the line.
Yeah. Especially if they're not trying to fence them. They're just using them for themselves. Now they're saying that any sort of reseller of these, they don't have a system of like
Serial number tracking?
like pawn shops and stuff. They say they have to build that. That'd be a government agency.
It's going to take another like 2 years before they get to it.
Who knew there would be a shortage of number 8 bolts? We didn't serialize those. Oops.
Yeah, and I imagine a lot of the fuel regulation stuff is what requires that, right? So, like, even if you could run without one, it'd be running illegally.
Yeah, but it seemed like the module's responsible for the engine timings and, how it switches gears automatically or how it deals with whatever.
Automatically?
Well,
What kind of trucker's driving an automatic with that many gears?
not the drive gear, but like the internal connection to stuff.
Well, it's got to control all those different coolers and pumps, and yeah, there's a lot going on there. Trucks do a lot. It's amazing that they run as long as they do without problems.
Hundreds of thousands of miles. Yeah.
I think they break down pretty frequently. I mean, not constantly, but frequently enough.
It's maintaining the oil pressure. I knew somebody that modified an engine to maintain the oil pressure. And it did make it last hundreds of thousands of miles more.
You mean when it was not running?
It would slowly bring the oil pressure up, and then when you wanted to start the engine, it would pressurize the oil before starting it.
And our final story. So you talk about supply chain attacks. You talk about SIM swapping. How does it happen? Well, it happens because these companies don't take their internal security serious at all, including the way that they don't take your security serious at all.
Hacker steals database of hundreds of Verizon employees. Now it's going to be super easy for somebody to call Verizon, impersonate an employee, and convince another employee to do something that they shouldn't do.
And then take over your SIM and two-factor you.
Hey, this is Bob with the local Verizon. Can you swap this SIM out for me? I know your social security number is this because I'm an employee too.
Ugh. He has a voice like that, so you don't really trust him, but it's like, well, he does say he's a Verizon employee.
And he's got all the challenge stuff to prove it.
Dark. Only 43 minutes with all those stories and banana pudding.
And a new set. Tell us how you like it. Hopefully the sound improves with time. It should be decent this week, but we'll see, I guess.
Woo!
Yeah. We'll see you then. Bye!